And obviously college sports has turned to, I think, what anyone would deem some form of professional avenue. A professional avenue. And I don't know if you would say it's pure professional because there's a lot of things missing from it. You know, you are the benefits you receive while playing, not the NIL, that's taxed, but the benefits, those aren't taxed. Okay, you're treated far better than you're treated in the real world. There's limited hours in which they can have you, and being a student and having freedom is all part of it, where when it's a real work environment, none of that comes into play. But we've definitely taken a turn. And I think it's fascinating if you think about it this way. This is Nick Saban. He was on Capitol Hill earlier today. Here's what he said about college sports.
All the things that I believed in for all these years, 50 years of coaching, no longer exist in college athletics. So it's always was about developing players. It was always about helping people be more successful in life. My wife even said to me, we'd have all the recruits over on Sunday with their parents for breakfast, and she would always meet with the mothers and talk about how she was going to help and impact their sons and how they would be well taken care of. And she came to me, like right before I retired and said, why are we doing this? And I said, what do you mean? She said, all they care about is how much you're going to pay them. They don't care about how you're going to develop them, which is all what we've always done. So why are we doing this?
So when you hear that, I know your reaction. I know what your reaction is. Your reaction is going to be, well, Nick, if you really wanted that, why'd you make $11 million your last couple years when you're at Alabama? My argument would be he's been underpaid for a long time. I actually think that college football and basketball coaches, they receive probably 2 to 3 times what they should, but it's an evening out of the fact that we compensate our teachers way below their level of their importance. Way below. When you look at beginning teaching salaries, why would anybody go into teaching? Imagine yourself, by the way, if you're a college athlete and you're making, anywhere from $50, $60 to $150, maybe even $200,000. And somebody says, well, if you get done, why don't you teach? Coach at a high school. Oh, cool. What do I make? 40? 45? Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. But the starting salaries for many jobs are at that level. I think why you get into a profession, and some people lose sight of that, but I think that what Nick Saban is saying is what so many of these coaches feel. I get that I'm making a lot of money. I've worked for 50 years to get to that money, okay, and I'm in charge of, really 150, 200 people in a college football program. And, oh, yeah, by the way, my success or failure also kind of determines the success or failure of admissions. Alabama's a perfect example. Front door of the university is football program, right? And when Alabama's football has been good, the school has taken off. There is not a player that has that much of an effect, nor are they there long enough, nor have they earned that much of respect. And I've had lots of people say, well, you're just an anti-player guy. You're a shill for the system. Like, no, I'm not. I thought players have always been compensated with their scholarship, room, board, tuition, and I love cost of attendance. I think that's great. I would love for there to be a way for real NIL to exist, but it doesn't. It becomes pay for play. And what happens when you make something about money, it only becomes about money. And not enough people have the long-term view of what true development of a player, true development of the human being matters. They just don't. It's how quickly can I make a buck? How much can I make doing it? Saban's speaking the truth, man. We've had this wonderful thing that wasn't perfect. but you can't make things perfect. There is no perfect thing. There are no perfect people. And our effort to somehow even the playing field, where the student makes as much as the school, which will never happen. This is what we got. This is what we got. And it sucks because college football is great and getting the playoffs should make it even better. And college basketball is awesome. And the NCAA tournament's the best time of year. But this sadly is what everyone in the sport tells me it's about. It's no longer about the relationships. It's no longer about the school. It's no longer about systems and how I'm used and how I can grow and how I can improve and what I can count on for the next 50 years. No, it's instead of like, what can I get now? And if I can't get what I want now from you, where can I get what I want now? Buyer, I'm sure we're going to, he'll get besieged on social media by calling him a hypocrite because he makes a bunch of money. But I gave you my side of it. You love college sports as much as I do. What do you think of what Saban said?
I understand completely why he got out of it, and it's a lot of places across the board, which is funny because of how what we thought this was going to turn into has been like Pandora's box. It's just been completely all over the place. Like if you go back to say, I don't know what, 5 years ago, all right, let's give the athlete something. Well, there's only going to be, certain athletes that end up, making money. So those are the ones who are going to pay. At least we can compensate them. I think that was one of the general thoughts. Well, that didn't necessarily turn out. There were more than just maybe a couple players here or there. I thought at one point, Doug, that the players who would say go to Alabama and maybe you're a backup lineman that, hey, I can make some money here in Tuscaloosa. I could go down to the car dealership and make some money, and that will be awesome. But that's not the case. What they're saying is I can make a lot more money if I go to, Starkville, or if I go and transfer to, Ames, Iowa, where I'm going to get playing time. So that's now through a different wrench into it. It is so far from what we thought or what it could be when we had good intentions that it's ruined a lot, and it's forced not only Nick Saban, but so many others just out of this game. And I know college basketball had different, things to deal with, especially transfer-wise and whatnot, but it's still the same in football. And to appease the players, and it's no longer about building a team. And Alabama was a team that honestly kept a lot of their guys. They didn't have a ton of guys that would leave early. They'd have more guys that would stay than maybe some of the other top programs. Yeah, I agree with them.
Yeah. Well, I never thought the NIL would end up being the romantic view of it as you did. I knew once people got a chance to legally pay players, I did not think it would spin to, I think what coaches have the biggest issue with is, that guys that can't play get paid.
Sure.
But the other thing. It's, honestly, I don't even think the pay would be the issue as much as the lack of accountability and the ability to just move to another school.
I also think that we thought that a school like Alabama would reap the benefits of this sort of system, right? And now I'm not saying that they aren't better off than maybe others, but the stuff that Nick Saban talked about, we would think that maybe Alabama would be better off. They'd be able to pay more of their players that would want the money than maybe a smaller school. And yet these schools are still dealing with this same sort of problem, even at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what it's done is it has spread guys out along the SEC or whatever. But, the beauty to college athletics, believe it or not, is the whole kind of growth process of taking in a boy and spitting out a man. And you use sports as a way to do that. Right? And you come in and everybody has thoughts and hopes of playing professionally and of starring right away and some guys are on that path. Some guys, the path is sometimes their body lets them down. Sometimes they're just not as good. Sometimes they were, early growers, and sometimes guys are late growers or late bloomers, whatever. But you come in, you earn it, and you work and work and work, and eventually by your junior and senior year, you're like a team captain, you're a leader, and just that whole process has been disrupted. And I don't think we end up producing the best humans out of it. That's a long time ago when I was first started in national radio. I was with Chuck Wilson, and Chuck pulled me aside one time and said, "Hey, do me a favor as you rise in this profession. Don't take a job because of the money. Don't take a job because of the money." And I would say a good 90% of these jobs that guys are taking are simply because of the money.